do whatever you do to chocolate. Like they make the most amazing chocolate. What would you say if you roast coffee, you don't brew chocolate, what do you do? How do you make they can make chocolate bars and the best hot chocolate? Anyway, there's chocolate there. And then they have two pieces that they're going to teach us. They're sit down, kind of gather up lecture style learning for about an hour and a half. And the one is deepening your meditation. And then the other one is harnessing the power of the mind is what they call it. And they focus on the yoga of the yamas and niyamas. So those are Sanskrit words. We don't use a lot of Sanskrit in our style of practice, but they just speak to different behaviors. So they're amazing lecturers. So we'll have 2 incredible sessions with them on Saturday. Other than that, we also have an inversion workshop. So the retreat is end of March. Beginning of March is the inversion workshop. I'd love to have you there as well. It's only happening in the Lancaster studio, so definitely sign up, whether you're an upside down person or not. I'll say we've been working a lot in the Tuesday, Thursday, 9:15 classes on inversions. Anybody can do them. Any experience level can do the workshop. So all of you are capable and available for that. Let's get started with our practice today. So let's begin in child's pose. Toes together, knees open. Stretch your arms forward and bring your forehead down to the mat. Once you get your body in a pretty comfortable position, we'll turn our attention to breath. Take a deep breath in and fill up your lungs completely until you feel like your whole ribcage has expanded, and hold it. And then slowly, steadily exhale all of the air out, all of the breath out, and hold the empty space. And then again, inhale, fill up. This time as you exhale, mouth open, all the air out through your mouth. Feel it rushing across the back of your throat. Keep on focusing on and building your breath. You will not have walked into the room with the breath that we'll use for practice. We'll have to cultivate that. Every practice, we start with our energy and our attention on our breathing because it is a breathing practice. Create a smooth, consistent, deep breath. And then we'll use the breath to inspire our movements. Consider when you fill up, it makes something bigger. It adds a little bit more power. When you empty all the air out, it has a quality of making things smaller, softening, a sense of letting go. Let's try that on. On your next inhale, lift your body up into downward facing dog. In the downward facing dog, you can start to bend and straighten your knees and stretch out your toes, your feet, the back of your legs, but place all of that movement to the rhythm of your breath. While you're here moving in downward facing dog, creating your Ujjayi breath, listen for the breathing happening in the space around you. Tap into your imagination to the spaces out there, people practicing at home or later in time to this practicing. Then with your next breath, have a look forward to the front of your mat and then walk on up to the front of your mat. Once you get there, lift up halfway so that your back is long and flat. And then as you exhale, just hang down. You're welcome to fold your arms as you hang here, continuing to develop your breath. While you're breathing, settle your gaze just softly, your eyesight, on one still point in the room. That's called your drishti. We will shift your drishti throughout the practice, but be purposeful with where you put your gaze, pose to pose. Then take another breath in, and with this breath, have a sense of pressing your feet down into the ground, and you come rolling all the way up to standing. Sweep your arms overhead in an extended mountain pose. Look up and reach up, and then gather your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest and pause right here. Set your drishti on one still point in your space, and then create an intention for your practice. In your mind, it would sound like this: I am, and you'd fill in the blank. Whatever you put in the blank space, create something that's loving and kind. So you could fill in that blank with something like, I am curiosity, I am space, I am loving kindness. And we'll use that for a North Star as we shape each pose in our practice. 3 times we'll chant Om together. It brings us together. It creates a clearing. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Take your time. Inhale, lift up halfway. High plank to low plank. Slowly breathe out. Then inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll take 3 breaths. So fill up, steady, empty out. 2 more. Deep breath in. Full steady breath out. Now here's the last one. Inhale. On the exhale, get ready to move, then come to the front of your mat. At the front, halfway lift, forward fold. Press down, stand up, extended mountain pose, reach up, fold to the floor as you empty. Inhale, lift halfway, high plank to low plank as you empty your breath. Then inhale, straight arms, lift your chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Fill up and empty out. Keep on breathing. Smooth, consistent, steady, and deep. Last one. Get ready to move. Come up to the front of your mat. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Inhale, stand. Lift high, stretch back, and fold to the floor. Halfway lift. Low plank. You can step or drop. Upward facing dog. Breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Steady breaths. So smooth, steady, and deep, and movements that are also smooth, steady, and deep. Last one, inhale. On the exhale, bend the knees, squeeze the mat, jump up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. One more sun salutation A. Stand up, stretch high, stretch back, fold to the floor. Halfway lift. Move to the low plank. You can step or drop. Upward facing dog. Fill up. Downward facing dog. Empty out. Move the breath. Listen for it all around you. 2 more. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Prepare to move. Come on up to your hands. Halfway lift. Forward fold, chair pose, sun salutation B. Sit back and reach up, then fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank, drop down. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge. Warrior 1, lift up and reach up. Hands to the floor, chaturanga, empty your breath completely. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot step, lunge, inhale, reach up, hands to the floor, empty your breath, chaturanga. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Anytime you feel like your heart rate's getting a little too fast, your breath a little too short, you can always take a sigh, and it has the effect of just grounding, settling, and clearing. One more breath here. Ready to move. Come up to the front of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale, and fold. Chair pose, sit, reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank, empty. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward. Take a long stride, lunge deep and reach. Hands to the floor, chaturanga, empty your breath. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step. Anchor the back edge of your back foot and reach. Hands to the floor, empty. Up dog and downward facing dog. Now feel how it is in your body. We've moved a little bit already. You might want to open your hands a little bit wider on your mat and spread your fingers wide. Then from your hands sinking down into the mat, you reach your hips up and back away from your hands so that you have a stretch from fingertips to hips. One more breath. Bend your knees, come up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose, sit back, reach your elbows, wrists, and fingers, fold to the floor. Half lift, low plank, drop back. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, right foot forward, lunge, deep legs, reach up, hands down, chaturanga, empty. Up dog, down dog, left side step and lunge, lift up, reach, lift the pit of your belly, hands down, chaturanga, and empty. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Have a look back at your feet and organize your feet so that your heels disappear behind your toes, that your feet are parallel to one another. We call this true north alignment when your feet face 12 o'clock. Now on your next inhale, raise your right leg into the air behind you. Bend your knee, open up your hips, and flip the pose over. 2 feet on the floor and steady breathing. Even here, as your feet sink down into the ground, imagine them like hands on a clock facing 12 o'clock, and then sink all 4 corners of both feet into the mat. With your reaching arm, reach up and over toward the floor. When your body's in its fullest stretch, just breathe. Then side plank, bring your right hand to the mat, face the long left side of the mat, and stack your body up. Once you have your drishti set on one spot and your breath smooth and steady, bring your attention here to your feet. I don't know about you, but my feet tend to curl around in this. So flare your baby toes back up toward your face. So even here, it's as though your feet are facing 12 o'clock. If you could imagine it, it's like they're just standing on a tilted floor. One more breath. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Organize your feet parallel to one another. You'll feel your hips get more broad in the back when you do that. Raise your left leg in the air. Be careful if you're near a wall that you don't kick it and hurt your foot. Bend your knee heel to your hip and turn your hips open. Steady breathing, flip the pose over 2 feet to the floor. You can always spin around on your bum. Keep your hips on the ground and just leave a hand on the floor and be reaching and take the pose in a modified way with your hips on the ground. Or hips all the way in the air, your choice. While you're here, let your feet have a feeling of sinking down into the ground and hugging in toward one another. One more breath. Side plank, left hand on the mat, face the long right side of your mat. Once you get into the pose and you set your drishti and your breath and you have a sense of your feet being at 12 o'clock. Next cue, lift your 10 toes like they're lifting toward your face and spread them. So toes awake and alive. Good. That's it. 2 more breaths. After this last one, high plank to low plank.
No.
Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward for crescent lunge. So crescent lunge has you stand on the ball of your back foot. The default is to let your heel hang inward. So ensure that you can feel all 5 knuckles on the ground behind you. And then lunge down forward until your heel is standing right on top of your toes. If there was a wall right behind you, I'll get that, you would feel that your whole foot's pressing in. So lean forward if you can, Adam. Keep going forward with your heel so that this whole block fits behind you, like right there. There, it's throwing Adam totally off. Maybe you might need a longer stride. It's a whole new world. Lift up and go back. One more breath, then hands to prayer and twist. Bring your left elbow to your right knee. Once you have your elbow anchored, stretch your whole body long from heel to the crown of your head. Like that whole part of your body is standing in true north alignment in Tadasana, the way we begin class when we go to extended mountain pose. So stretch this long right through here. There you go. Every inhale, stretch longer. Every exhale, twist. 2 more, long and twist. Really threw that base off, huh, Adam? Come up to crescent lunge. Give him a whole new world. Open to warrior 2. Once you're in your warrior 2, ensure that your front knee is pointing in the same direction of the toes of your front foot. You might then, even in your back foot, pick your heel up and just swing it out a little bit further until you feel like you're evenly standing in both of your legs. And then lift the pit of your belly so your pelvis stays in a neutral position. Good, now stretch your arms wide. Once you have all that, lunge a little deeper and then tilt for extended side angle. Bend your front knee if you can a little bit more, Brian. You're getting a lot more range of motion over here. Bend your front knee a lot. You got it. Reach for the floor if you can. That's it. Reach for the ceiling, or maybe turn your palm forward and reach your top arm over your ear. You got it. Top arm over your ear to the front of the room. And then from the back edge of your back foot, pressing down all the way up through the 2 sides of your body, you reach. 3 more breaths. This is good. 2 more breaths. Last breath, then hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. This section of the sequence is about vitality. Vitality is an inner, unrelenting source of energy. Step your left foot forward for crescent lunge. So we have what Adam learned about whether the heel hangs behind the toes or it stacks right on top of the knuckles. Give that a try. You might need a longer stride. You will notice you come down into a deeper lunge in the front leg. Nice. So feet face 12 o'clock. It's kind of obvious in the front foot, and in the back foot, it's in the up and down motion of it all. You could even go a little more forward. See that there. Reach up and go back. From your back foot, so strong, up your back leg, all the way up through to your chin. So you feel it up the front of your right hip, all the way to your fingertips. Reach. Hands to prayer then, and twist. Right elbow to your left knee. Make your body long, the sides of your waist long. You can allow yourself to press the bottom elbow into your knee. On your inhale, body stretches long. On your exhale, twist, especially this side. Sink your ribs. Inhale, body long there. Exhale, twist. 2 more, body long. Twist. Last one. Ring it out. Reach up to crescent lunge. Set your drishti. Keep it there. Open up your body. Warrior 2. Steady breathing here. Deep, deep lunge. Come down low in your legs until you feel the back leg as much as the front leg. Then stretch your arms apart. Tilt for extended side angle. Reach for the floor and reach for the ceiling. Bend your front knee even more. That's it. Deep, deep lunge. So you look for the sensation of your front inner thigh lengthening from the groin out to your knee. Deep lunge. Okay, turn your front palm forward, reach your arm over your ear. Now, Brittany, press your back foot into the mat until it's pressing so strong it's easy for you to stretch. You create this long extending angle up through the side of your body. For everybody, 2 more breaths. Last breath, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. When we get that extended side angle locked into alignment and we just hold the pose and breathe, all kinds of new space opens up between each one of our ribs. Take 1 more breath here, prepare to move, and come on up to the front of your mat. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair twist to the right. So sit back, bring your hands to prayer, and make the twist, left elbow to your right knee. Keep your breath flowing as you build the pose. Like in any other twist, our breath really makes the twist happen. So inhale, crown to tail long. Exhale, twist. Again, inhale, make your body as long as you can, and then twist. 2 more. Body long, twist. Especially this left body, long, and twist. Now reach up to chair pose. Forward fold. Hook your big toes with your middle and index fingers and stretch down. Have a look at your feet. Ensure that they are like hands on a clock facing 12 o'clock. The default is to turn your toes out. Or when you get a little sneakier, maybe your feet are lined up, but you let the weight roll out into your baby toes. So bring some weight into the knuckle of your big toe, even as you hold on to your big toe. See if you can be aware of a difference between the weight rolling only into your baby toe to it being balanced in your big toe. You'll notice the difference in the back of your pelvis and how your thigh bones are sitting in your pelvis. Take one more breath. Chair twist the other way. Sit back, bring your hands to prayer, make the twist right elbow to your left knee. If you find you're pretty flexible and how you make the twist is to swing your ribs out to the side and start collapsing the right side of your body, pause, make your body long, and then create the rotation. And then for everybody, make your right side body long from hip to armpit and twist. Body long, right hip to right armpit and twist. 2 more. Long, more like here, less turn. Yes. One more time. Length and twist. Chair pose. Forward fold. Gorilla pose. So tuck your palms under your feet from the front and stand on your hands if you can. Hands on some blocks is a nice adjustment for some bodies. For all bodies, you have an opportunity here for restoration. Breathe and invite into your practice and your body through your breath, a calming heart rate, a calming respiration rate. See how you can create that smoothing and calming and deepening of your energy right through your breath. Next pose is crow pose. Many variations. So handstand, hands go on the ground. Legs in a diamond shape, knees near your armpit, tilt forward and pick your feet up. Same energy is happening if you're curled up like a bug that got tipped over, pressing out on your knees while your arms while your knees press into your arms, all curled up. Feet active. Wherever you are, we're taking 5 breaths. So deep breath in. As you exhale, press the floor, lift your core. 4 more of those. Keep on breathing. 3. Keep on breathing. 2. And last one, chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Stretch back. Deep breath in. Bend your knees, look to the front of your mat, and come on up to the front. Halfway lift, forward fold. Press the floor and come rolling up to standing, arms overhead, right side eagle pose. Wrap your right arm under your left. Squat, wrap your right leg high over your left thigh, maybe with a kickstand on the ground, maybe with toes tucked behind your calf muscle. Now squeeze your wrapped legs, squeeze your wrapped arms. Breathe. While you're breathing, feel how it is in your body physically, and if there are any adjustments to make, you could try that. Could be that your elbows come a little higher, your hands a little away from your face. Keep your drishti on the one point you're looking at and switch sides. So arms overhead, drishti still on your spot, left arm under. Squat down, left leg over. Breathe steadily here. Steady breath. That's it. See if you can sit a little bit deeper and squeeze your legs. Eyes on your spot. Step out. Second set. Right arm under, right leg over. Keep your breath flowing. Breath that you use to connect to yourself and then through that to others. Even here, your 2 feet are still in true north alignment. The standing foot, that one is more obvious, but then the foot that's wrapping, active. Lift all 10 of your toes from the floor and from the foot in the air. And then step out, switch sides. Left arm under, left leg over. While your eyes are on that one spot that is your drishti, internally keep your felt sense or your attention on your feet. See how it is in your feet right now. Do you have the four corners of your standing foot sinking down into the mat? How are your 5 toes if you've got 5 on the mat? Maybe lift them up, all 5 of those toes, spread them wide, and let them settle softly. And then step out, stretch your arms overhead. Hug your right knee into your chest, and either with your hand or a strap, hold onto your foot and extend your knee. Sometimes we'll also add not holding on, do some exercises like that. But when you extend, we get this incredible stretch, of course, in the back of the leg, but so much opening in your right back body that we'll use for the back bends to come. So use a strap or your hand, hold onto your foot, and get acclimated. Next, open your leg out to the right, look and reach to the left. And while you're standing here, expand your chest and upper back. Bring your leg forward, hug your knee into your chest, eyes on your drishti point, breath steady, and then open up. Airplane pose. Stretch your body open. From your center to the periphery, expand out. Let the knuckle of your standing foot's big toe sink down into the mat. The heel of your kicking foot, imagine pressing it into the wall behind you. Keep your drishti, hands to prayer position. Half moon, left fingertips to the block or floor, right arm in the air. Set your drishti. Now breathe. While you're in the pose, put your felt sense attention on your lifted foot. Imagine all 4 corners of your lifted foot pressing into the wall behind you. Let your foot soften there. For some of you, that means lifting your heel a little higher to the ceiling. Nice. One more breath. Forward fold and hang. Take a moment and sway from side to side. Get a sense of how it is in your body. We've done something on the right we haven't done on the left. If you'd like to use your strap, grab it and come on up to standing. Hug your left knee into your chest and stand tall. Breath steady. Drishti on just one point. Hold onto your left foot by the toe, the outside of the foot, or the strap, and extend your knee. Eyes on one spot, ideally up off of the floor.
Yeah, eyes on.
You might even notice the kicking foot. Might you notice that it looks like it's standing on the wall in front of you, pointing straight up in its true north alignment. Open your leg to the left, look and reach to the right. Steady breath, regardless of what's going on around you. Eyes on the one point and a steady breath. Bring your leg forward, hug your knee into your chest, open up to airplane pose. Chest open wide, arms open wide, like an upward facing dog in your chest. That's it. Shoulders up. Steady breath. Now lift your back legs a little bit higher. Hands to prayer position. Half moon. Bring your right arm down and your left arm up. Lift your 10 toes wherever they are in the room right now. Lift and spread your 10 toes, a sense of knowing where your toes are. One more breath. Forward fold and hang. Bring yourself up to standing and sweep your arms overhead, right side, standing bow pose. Drop your right arm behind you so the inseam of your whole entire arm, shoulder to hand is facing out. Bend your knee and hold your ankle from the inside. Left arm in the air. Now stretch floor to ceiling and then start kicking back into your fingertips. Begin to stretch front and back. You want to drive your right knee straight back. Even in this pose, it's helpful to lift and spread all 10 of your toes and discover exactly where your feet are in the space. One more breath and step out. Just windmill your arms around so now the back arm is open. Hold your ankle from the inside. If you find yourself scooching down to grab your ankle, you're going to end up with your shoulder curled forward. We want opened back. then kick and reach. I often like to think about this pose as like drawing an arrow through a bow. That the tension that you build by kicking and pulling your back arm back has that same quality. The tension holds you up. Kick and reach. One more breath and step out. You can either take a moment for a breather or windmill your arms right back around, bend your right knee and hold the ankle, left arm in the air. Set your drishti, steady breathing, and start to move into the pose. Slow, steady, deep, rhythmic. Spin your arm the other way, right like that. You got it. It's a tricky grip. Takes a little time to get it. It's always one of the things teachers are taught is to scan the room quickly and see where that grip is. While you're in the pose, use the tool of a sigh. Take a sigh and just soften a little bit more. See if there's any greater depth than available. And step out. We'll take the second side, second set. So armpit to palm open. Hold the ankle from the inside. Just like that. Start with your knees then together. Rather than a knee out to the side, start with them together and then drive it straight back. Straight back and up. Steady breathing. You move energy through the pose with your breath. One more. And step out. Front of your mat for tree pose. So left foot down, heel behind the middle toe. So your foot is at 12 o'clock. This is an easier balance pose to have this, especially if your natural default is toes turned out. So be rigorous with where your foot is. Right foot to your left inner thigh. Press your foot in while your thigh presses back and join the two together at your center line. Then same with your palms. Press them together. Watch your heart rate and your respiration rate as you press your thigh and foot together and your palms together. While your gaze is settled and steady, you might notice that the whole of your system is softening, calming down, deepening, grounding. And switch sides. Right foot down, left foot up. Especially if you find you're losing your balance, just set your gaze, put your attention on hearing your breath and pressing your palms together. In this pose, you could lift your 5 toes and spread your 5 toes. Steady breathing. Keep pressing your palms. And step out. Come to the front of your mat. At the front, inhale and sweep your arms overhead. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Halfway lift, chaturanga, step or drop back. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Triangle pose. Step your right foot forward, right hand outside of your right ankle. A long stride with 2 straightish legs. Left arm in the air. Keep your breath flowing. Once you get your arm in the air, start to put your attention on your feet and build the pose from the ground up. Press the knuckle of both big toes down into the mat. Lift all 10 of your toes, spread your 10 toes, and settle them softly on the mat. As you travel up your legs, feel the stretching up the inseams, get to the pelvis, lift the pit of your belly into your body and up to your chin. In the last few moments of the pose, as you breathe, expand your chest and upper back. Then come all the way up to standing. Turn to face the long left side of your mat. Feet parallel to the short sides of your mat. Hands on your hips. Lift up high and forward fold all the way down. Walk your fingertips forward and rest your fingertips on the ground and sink your hips behind your heels so you get stretching from your fingertips all the way to your hip creases. As you have a quick look at your feet, line them up in their true north alignment where they're parallel to the short sides of your mat. And then breathe. Breathe and expand through all of the stretching space of the back of your ribs. With your gaze just softly settled on one still point in the room, you have the opportunity to put all of your attention into the space that's stretching and opening up as you breathe, you can intend that there be a quality of healing in this part of your body. See what a difference that might make for you. Then walk your hands back into the center and come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat for the Namaste front facing forward fold. So your front leg is your right leg, back foot at any angle, hands behind your back in prayer pose. Anchor the knuckle of both feet, their big toe down. You can even lift your 10 toes in the air so you can really feel that and start to hinge forward. You may soften your front knee or lift your back heel a little bit. Caitlin, take a little bit of a longer stride if you can. Yes. And fold. Once you get folded, if the opportunity that is there to press your palms together, take that opportunity and take it so that the whole of your palms are pressing. From here, your legs and hips are set. Note where they are and try to keep them there. Twisting triangle, just drop your left arm straight down to the block or floor. And then start to turn open. Instead of easing all of your weight over onto your left arm and swinging your hips over to the right so that your body essentially goes into the width of the pose, keep yourself working forward and back and then make your rotation. One more breath here. On the exhale, open, then hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Left side triangle, step your left foot forward. Hand on the block behind you, the opposite arm in the air, and build the pose. Keep your breath moving. Just as you create your slow, steady, deep, rhythmic, smooth breath, you create matching movements. All 10 toes in the air to experience the knuckle of your big toe anchored and pressing down. From the big toe knuckle all the way up the inseam to your sitting bone, stretch. One more breath here. Come on up to standing. Face the long right side of your mat, feet parallel to the short sides. Take your hands around behind you, interlace them, or hold on to a strap. Then lift your chest up high, forward fold, and let your arms spill overhead. If they don't do any spilling, grab a strap and use the strap. While your hands are spilling overhead, you might notice this lives inside of a similar family of movement, that your body in the shoulders, neck, head, upper back are working toward a place they'll be when you're in shoulder stand later, and before that in a bridge pose with your hands bound underneath of your body. What's interesting about this pose right now in your body? You might feel some stretching across the outer corners of your chest. I'm sure you feel some stuff in your legs. You might also feel, as you're breathing, some stretching in the upper back ribs right under your armpits. See what you can see by turning your attention inward into your body and feeling what's happening physically in your space. Then come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of the mat. So now left leg forward, hands in the prayer position behind your back. You may have to disintegrate your alignment, roll your shoulders forward to bring your hands into the prayer position, but then reintegrate as you open your shoulders and move your arm bones straight back, forward fold. Steady breathing here. Your breath is an indicator of so much. It can show you when you're at the edge of the pose. An edge of the pose is physical. It's where you put yourself in the most extreme of the pose for your body. But the edge place, you'd still be able to breathe. Beyond that place where you can breathe, you're past the edge, not into like the other side where the pose becomes receiving, but you're just out of it into a place where you're creating injury. So right on the edge is a place where it's physical, but you can still breathe. Now twisting triangle, right hand down. Hips back, left arm working its way into the air. When you're inhaling, and any twist, body long. And then on the exhale, you rotate and ring out. 2 more, body long, and then rotate and ring out your spine. 1 more time, twist, then bring your hands to the floor, step back to the downward facing dog, stretch back. From there, come to the high plank position and lower all the way down to your belly on the mat. Once you get all the way down, point your toes and press all 10 toenails into the ground and lift up into your locust pose, all the way up. Once you're in the locust pose, gather the pit of your belly into your body and then lift it up towards your chin so your pelvis moves into neutral and come on down. We'll take a second set, this with an arm bind, hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. You could use a strap, press back and lift up. That's it. Breathe right here. Another breath. And come on down. We'll take floor bow. You could do this one side at a time. Bend both knees, reach back and hold both ankles, or just hold one side. The straight leg stays active. The straight leg side arm is coming to the front. Kick back and kick up. 2 legs or 1 leg. The leg that's kicking, flex your ankle so you have a sense of your foot pressing into the ceiling. Press the knuckle of your big toe up to the ceiling. And come down. You can move your feet from side to side. We'll set up the second set or the second side. With your left hand, reach back to your left ankle or both ankles. Jeanette, keep your knees closer together. And for anybody doing 2 sides, knees only hip width distance. Kick back and kick up. Flex your feet. Flex your ankles. And then press the knuckle of your big toe mound right up into the ceiling. Just press up. 1 more breath. Come on down. Feet side to side. You can put your hands on the floor beside your bottom ribs. Come to upward facing dog. Move to downward facing dog. Just stretch back. Camel pose, knees on the ground. Once you're kneeling down, I would turn my toes under, and then you can hug your block right between your knees. On your next inhale, reach your arms overhead like you do for extended mountain pose. We're going to take the first camel pose like this. Let your knees sink down into the ground and hug into your center line while your arms reach up. Now, while you're stretching from your knees all the way up to the tip of your pinky finger, you keep lifting the pit of your belly and stretching up. Little bit more lift of the pit of the belly. You can look up, lift your chest up. You might even go back a little bit, then hands to the floor, stretch to downward facing dog. We'll take a second set of camel pose. You can do it the same way we did the first set, or in the second set, put your hands like they're slipping into back pockets and just dragging the back of your pelvis down and lift your chest. The common defaults in this pose are to pop your bum back and your belly forward or to sink into your bottom rib, kind of like a melting. We want the whole thing to be lifting and opening. Deeper back bends are attained by adding more lift and opening. It seems counterintuitive. Let's have a little bit more lift right through your bottom rib there. A little more support then from the pit of the belly. You'll lift the front of the pelvis up and the bottom rib up. There you go. Come on up out of it. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog, stretch back. Then you can move through your hands, sit down on your bum and roll onto your back. We'll take bridge pose. Once you're on your back, bend your knees, feet on the floor underneath of your knees, press down, lift your hips up into the air for bridge pose. Once you get your hips into the air, rock your shoulders underneath of your body from side to side. Then interlace your hands if you're able, or use a strap and press your elbows straight.
Hold it.
Once you do that, you're getting that same family of movement we found in the wide leg forward fold, and we'll feel later in a shoulder stand. From here, release your hands, fingertips in the air, flex your wrists, and put your hands on the floor beside your shoulders. We're moving from bridge into wheel. So with your hands set, press down from the bridge, go right up into your wheel. First wheel. Once you get up into the wheel, organize your feet so that they're at 12 o'clock. For most people, that means move just your heels wider. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. We're going to take 2 more. Next one, set it up, press down, rise up. Now, we can get into our mind that we really have to press our hips to the ceiling, but that can also put us into a really sunken back bend. Instead, less pressure from your hips, more press into the floor with your feet. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. We have 1 more. Last one, press down and rise up. While you're in the pose, right now, our focus today is on your feet. So press the knuckle of your big toe, the mound of it, the knuckle of it, down into the ground. The center of each heel down into the ground. See if you're able even to lift your 10 toes and spread your 10 toes. And then come on down. Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of your feet together, knees open wide. This is a chance to just be still in the practice and feel how it is in your body after all the opening we've done. And then we'll bring stability next. Hug your knees into your chest, take dead bug pose. So you'll hold the outer edges of your feet and pull your knees back to your shoulders. Even here, you can see how your feet are active and they look like they're standing on the ceiling. Facing 12 o'clock could be a lot harder in this. Your thighs have a sense of having rolled out, so you'll see your feet have a sense of turning out. Okay, legs straight up in the air. We'll take scissor legs. While you're curled up in the air for this pose, you could have your head on the ground, but you could also curl up and imagine you're pressing the wall away. Keep from hip to hip and rib to rib, anchored down onto the ground. Breathe in, exhale, lower your right leg, and then you can switch them. While you're switching back and forth, keep your bottom ribs on the ground, your whole spine through your lower back, and your pelvis on the ground. See if you can keep this box from hip to hip and rib to rib uniform as your legs are switching. Finish up, 2 legs together, and hug your knees into your chest. Next, you can put your hands under your hips, 2 legs in the air. If you have a block, hug it between your shins. So more shin bone hugging, less calf muscles with toes turned out. When you look up at your feet, they should be facing 12 o'clock. Then breathe in. As you exhale, lower your legs a little bit and endeavor to keep the whole of the box of your core on the mat. Breathe in, lower a little more. Is your bottom rib still on the mat? Breathe in. If it's available, lower more, or maybe work with bent knees. Then inhale and exhale, bring your legs back up. We'll do that 2 more times. Breathe in, lower a little bit. Hug the block or imagine you are. Lower a little bit further. Lower even a little bit further. Maybe you lift your head and look. How is your bottom rib? Is it still anchored? Legs straight up in the air. 1 more time. Breathe and lower. Hug the block. Toes rotating in. Lower a little further. Maybe lower further. Lift your head. Look at your feet. Are your toes turned out? If so, point them straight back up to the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, legs back up and hug your knees into your chest. We'll take bicycles, fingertips behind your ears and curl up at your bottom rib. Right elbow to your left knee, maybe a straight right leg, and you're switching back and forth. Even here, this box in your torso can stay uniform. Instead of one side collapsing, then the other side. Go back and forth 5 more times, 4 more times, 3, 2, and 1, and stretch your whole body long. Then hug your knees into your chest and rock head to tail a few times, and we'll come up and take boat pose. When you first get up into the boat pose, maybe you just hug behind your thighs and sit up tall. Your toes could be on the ground, lift in the air, parallel to the floor, straight up in the air. Instead of crouching back, we'd love to see a tall spine. Look at your feet even here, whether they're bent knees or straight knees, feet at 12 o'clock. And then reach your arms out like you're hugging a big tree and breathe 3 breaths. Sit up tall, 2 breaths. Hug your legs together and then hug your knees and rock. Come all the way through to downward facing dog. We'll take right side pigeon pose. Right knee up to your right wrist. Your shin and its parallel quality to the front short end of your mat. That has to do with how intense the pose is. A block under your right hip is a good tool so that you're not tilted to the side, so that from the bird's eye view, the 2 sides of your pelvis are level. You might not feel as inclined toward your Ujjayi breath, and then some of you will feel really still connected to it. This is a transitional stage in the practice where we are starting to open up to many things, including our everyday breath. It will be changed, though, transformed from your Ujjayi breath into a rich, steady, smooth, consistent, deep, everyday breath. The pauses that we use in the Ujjayi breath between the inhale and the exhale will begin to disappear. Switch sides, left leg forward.
No.
In any hip opening pose, we would not want there to be discomfort in your knees, but we're very open to feeling sensation in the hips, the lower back. Some of you might feel it in your inner thigh of your front leg.
Get down, get down. Up here.
And sit on your left hip, swing your right leg around. Let's roll down onto your back and take plow pose.
Plow pose.
All the way onto your back, feet overhead for plow pose.
Okay.
Once you get into your plow pose, at first you'll hold onto your low back and some will stay there, but walk your shoulders deep underneath of your body. And then maybe you can interlace your fingers and press your arms straight like we've done a couple of different times. If you feel like you're going to tip out, then you keep your hands at your lower back. When you get into the plow pose, keep lifting your hips up to the ceiling so that the sides of your waist are long.
Ready? Ready, set. No. Escape. Watch out. You better get it.
You might like to get your shoulders, now that they're a little more open, tucked even more deeply, hands to your lower back and then legs straight up in the air, or long arms if that works.
Good dog.
Now, especially those of you in the shoulder stand and the plow, put your intention for now on the back of your neck. The back of our neck naturally has an inward curve to it. It curves into the body. When we get into poses like shoulder stand and plow, it's really easy to lengthen and flatten that curve. Commit to keeping the curve present. That might look like taking a sigh and just getting a little bit softer in the back of your neck. Shoulder stands, plow pose. Once you get your toes to the ground and you're sturdy and settled again, bend your knees beside your temples or your ears. Sometimes I rest them on the top of my forehead. And maybe reach over toward your feet and hold on to your feet. This pose is called Karnapadasana, or deaf man's pose. Then finally, palms behind you, come rolling out of this pose slowly. So palms at your backside, feet at your head side, and then roll out as slowly as you can. Like somebody's holding onto your heels and continuing to keep your heels just pressing into the wall behind you. Melt your ribs one at a time. Come all the way out. Finally, hug your knees into your chest. Drop your knees to the left and look to the right. Take a sigh here, and as you exhale, just let go. Then switch to the other side. Feels like our class just went by in a flash. Come to the center for Supta Baddha Konasana. So that's soles of your feet together, resting on the ground, soles touching. Knees, drop them out to the side. Here in the studio, there's a cold eye towel near the top of your mat. At home, if it's cool in your space, perhaps pull a blanket over your body. Wherever you are, set yourself up to be comfortable for a little bit. Stretch your legs long and wide, your arms wide with your palms facing up for Shavasana, the deep rest. I'm going to offer a reading to you from this book, Journey to the Heart. As I flip it over, I'm going to read this one. It's called, What Does Service Mean to You? For a long time, service meant drudgery, something grim and tiresome to me. Having to say yes all the time, even when I wanted to say no. Doing a lot of things I didn't want to do because someone had asked me to. Doing an act of service, even if I wasn't asked. Solving any problem, filling any need I saw anytime, anywhere. But much of the time, what I did didn't help others or me. Usually I felt angry, resentful, tired, and unappreciated. After years of living this way, I started avoiding people so I could avoid the responsibility of having to solve their problems. I shied away from people and I shied away from service. Before I was able to return to service, I needed to change my definition of it. Service isn't something we need to do, it's a way of life. Service is what our lives are when we're loving ourselves. Now, to me, service means that we take our place in the universe naturally and easily. We listen to our hearts, trusting the guidance about what we want to do and what feels right for us. We listen when our hearts say no, too. We love ourselves. We do what we're led to do. We do what we enjoy and have a passion for doing. That's service. We enjoy life. We open our hearts to the people around us. We laugh openly. We cry openly. We let ourselves be who we are. That's service. When a task or job arises that it's our job to do, one that feels right and appropriate for us, we do it in joy and love. That's service. We allow ourselves to be in the present moment, realizing the value of work and of giving. Then we take it one step further. We allow ourselves to have fun and enjoy what we're doing while we're doing it. That's service. If a task seems too grim to bear, if we can't find the reserves or resolve to accomplish it, if no way to do it opens up, we quietly say no. We have not failed. We have succeeded, in fact, at listening to our hearts. We have succeeded at true service. We give ourselves, our resources, our love. We give our time and our smiles and our joy in those places and with those people that feel right to us. We don't worry about what we're going to get back while we're giving. We focus on the giving because we're doing something we want to do. If service has become drudgery, redefine it until it becomes joy. True service won't make you back away from people in life. It will bring you closer to yourself. True service helps you become a part of the magical dance of universal love. Begin to deepen your breath, to move your toes, and to move your fingers. Hug your knees into your chest, roll to your side, and bring yourself up into a sitting position. Once you're sitting tall, sweep your arms overhead, then bring your hands to rest at prayer position at the center of your chest. Just still for a moment, see if there's an intention that rises up for you to set for the rest of your day into tomorrow. And then one more time, we'll chant together. Take a deep breath in. Thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. Inhale and exhale. Namaste.
Namaste.
Do you know that when we say namaste, what we're saying is the light inside of me bows, respects, recognizes the light inside of you. So it's truly a thank you from a really deep place. And namaste. At home, thank you for joining us. I'll see you from teacher training in just a half an hour here in the studio. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to get to spend the Friday with you.
Okay, hop up. We gotta find our glasses. We gotta see about this pizza.